to the Big Apple. It is the final series of the season. It's the Marlins and the Mets, the first of three here at Citi Field to wrap up the 2018 campaign. There's a little bit of an autumn chill in the air. It's actually kind of nice. But I'll tell you what, when we get off the plane Sunday night in Miami, you get that humidity back, it'll be just as nice. But first, there are three games to be played inside the broadcast booth. Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. So here we are, last series of the year.
Well, it should be an awful lot of fun. I think there's a lot of things going on. You've got some talented starters going, including tonight with Aranea. You got a David Wright day tomorrow. It should be a fun weekend.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Let's start with the pitcher, as you just mentioned, Jose Aranea. He, of course, got the opening day start, and boy, oh boy, has he been pitching like an ace the last month or so.
Well, he certainly has. We can talk about re-gripping of the slider. We can talk about fastball command. He has been great. I guess the slider, for me, has been such an outstanding pitch. It's one of the few months in his career where he's actually struck out more with the slider than the fastball. So he's using them about the same, but he's getting better results with that slider. And boy, oh boy, facing the Mets for the fourth time.
Yeah, he has seen an awful lot of the Mets, and in fact, the Marlins have seen a lot of the Mets. Starter Cory Oswalt gets the ball tonight. We'll see Steven Matz, Noah Syndergaard in the next 2 days. No Jacob deGrom. His season is done, but tonight it is Oswalt. These are the numbers in the two starts against the Marlins this year.
And it's a little lopsided right there. One of them's pretty extreme. They got to him really good, including a couple of home runs, so they've got that going, a little bit of that in the lineup tonight. One was a little bit better, but he's throwing the ball decent this month. Again, he's not going to overwhelm you with velocity. He's more of a mixed guy. We'll see what he's got tonight and see where this game goes.
All right, the Marlins have not played very well on the road in the second half of this season, but they look to start their final series, and road series, of course, on the right foot. When we come back, oh yeah, we kind of had a good time in New York the other night when we got here. Jessica Blaylock will have more on the rookie dress-up, the Minions, when we come back.
Hey, Paul, the Marlins have a ton of rookies, and as you know, they have to pay their dues. So on Wednesday, the Marlins held Rookie Dress-Up Day. The theme this year, Minions and a few other special guests. Take a look.
Well, it was a conversation between the oldest guy here in the clubhouse. Actually, Dan Straley was the one who come with the idea to get the minions, because we got a lot of rookies here, and I think it was going to be cool. And then I suggest to get a Brigham as a Deadpool, so we can have a little contrast there, and a couple of the another guys from the movie Despicable Me. It was great. I feel for me it was one of the most amazing part of my careers, because I never had so much fun like I had the other night.
Well, it was completely up to Miguel Rojas, and he made the executive decision since he ordered the costumes, dressed me as Deadpool. I think it was because of my charming personality, reminded him of Ryan Reynolds, great sense of humor, ravishly good looks. So I think that's why what he went with.
I had a blast. I was kind of leading the pack a little bit. They dropped us off in Times Square, and we walked from the hotel. So people had their phones out wanting pictures and stuff like that. So I always go, "Hey, you want a picture?" And run up to them, "They want a picture." It was awesome. So I had a blast, obviously, and stuff like that's kind of easy for me because I'm pretty outgoing.
Who wore it best?
Who wore it best? I think Riddle did. I think Riddle wore the Groot costume well.
Austin Dean said you wore it best. When you take a look at the group, who do you think wore it best? Is it you?
I thought I wore it pretty good, but I'd probably go with Tehran was good, and then of course second rider in the fluffy outfit was pretty good too. But I don't know. Everybody had a good costume, and then of course Deadpool was different and not on the minion scene, but he did a pretty good job being Deadpool.
Paul Severino got to participate as well. How did Paul handle himself?
Paul was a pro. With everything that he's been doing this year, trying to get in this group of guys, and like with the energy that he works every day, the same thing was that day when he dressed as a minion. With a smile on his face, he was so happy to do it, because you can never take for granted that you're in the big leagues doing whatever that you're doing, and it was a special day for him, and I'm pretty happy that he embraced it the way he did.
Yeah, Paul looked a little bit too comfortable in that costume. He may end up rocking it on camera again. Coming up next, it is first pitch between the Mets and the Marlins. It is the final series of the season. It is the last start of the year for Jose Urena. Paul Severino and Todd Hollingsworth will have the call next.
Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By W.B. Mason. Who but W.B. Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. By Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your South Florida Toyota dealers. Inside Citi Field, ready to go. Miguel Rojas digs in against Cory Oswalt and takes a first pitch called strike, so we are underway. You see the long sleeves, and it certainly does feel like either early April or late September. Very nice, 63 degrees at first pitch. Rojas to lead things off in in the Marlins starting lineup, presented to you by Southwest. And that one is over the head of Jay Bruce. A leadoff base hit for Miggy to get the night going for the Marlins. So just as Miggy has met Oswalt with a leadoff knock, we too meet the Mets starter.
Now, Cory Oswalt, he's a big guy, 6'5", 250 pounds, 25 years old, making his third start of the season against the Marlins. One good start, one bad one, but both starts at Marlins Park. So his first here at Citi Field. So the ERA 6.08. Has not been the type of season that he was hoping for, but looking to go out with a quality start. In fact, he's only had 3 quality starts of his 11 this season. Four-seam fastball, sinker, change, and curve. 90-92.
Ball and no strikes to Starlin Castro, who has rejoined the club. Again, a congratulations to the Castro family. Left the club right before the first pitch of that 3-game series against the Washington Nationals. Went back down to Florida. Child, and here he is to wrap up the regular season.
Yeah, child number 3 for the Castro family. Congratulations to them.
Castro on the year at 278 with the 12 home runs and the 54 RBIs. Also the 31 doubles that he's got. That's second on the team to Brian Anderson. One inside, 2-0. High, 3 balls and no strikes.
Certainly see some attention being paid to Rojas over at first base. Base stealers 3 for 5 against Oswalt. A whole lot of running going on.
And on 3-0, a strike. JT Realmuto waiting on deck. Now, one thing that you can do is run on the Mets. However, they have caught just 20% of base runners, which is tied for the lowest percentage of caught stealing in Major League Baseball. Foul ground, but that will have enough to get into the seats, or at least into the camera well, and it's now 3-2.
Well, for Oswalt, he is coming off a pretty decent start. September 22nd against the Nationals, 5 innings, couple of earned runs, 4 Ks, but on the overall look at the last couple of months, he has been really struggling. August 6.35 ERA, September 7.59.
Runner goes, called strike 3, and now Miggy is caught in between first and second. Bruce to McNeil, McNeil to Oswalt, and essentially a double play.
They'll strike him out, throw him out. And we'll take another look. Fastball away. Starlin Castro taking. A strong throw by Plawecki. Rojas hung up. Probably a few too many throws for the Mets' liking, but to get the job done.
And that will go down as a 2-4-3-4-1. And that is the second out of that sequence. 2 away in the inning, and that'll bring up JT Realmuto. Now for JT, had a rough series in Washington. He was 0 for 10, did score a run. So looking to put the finishing touches on what has been, all in all, a phenomenal season, with perhaps after the off day, clear the mechanism a little bit, get back on track, and finish with a good 3 days here in the Big Apple.
get you the Mets defensively behind Oswalt for tonight's ball game. Smith making just his 9th career start in left field. Nimmo in center, Conforto over in right. Frazier, Rosario, McNeil, Bruce, Plawecki behind the plate.
First-year manager Mickey Callaway. The second half of the season has gone a little bit better than the first did. Of course, the Mets started out with that amazing 11-1 start to the season. They had a 9-game win streak in there. But by July 2nd, they were 15 games under 500. And JT went around, rung up by Mike Winters. We go to the bottom of the first. Marlins go 1-2-3, even though they had a base hit in there. A double play helped that. So to the bottom of the first we go. Brandon Nimmo to lead things off. The rest of the lineup presented to you by Southwest. Jeff McNeil, who has been a bright spot for the Mets since his call-up. Michael Conforto has certainly been hot in the month of September. Those three will bat first against Jose Aranea, whose first pitch is in there for a called strike. Mentioned how well Aranea has been pitching. However, his last 2 starts have been cut short by, we'll call them mini injuries, however, because there was one hand cramp, didn't miss any time, and then the last time out he left because of an IT band issue, but again back 5 days later.
Now making his 31st start of the season, career high, 4th start versus the Mets. He's going to surpass his career high in innings pitched that came last season, 169.2. Before entering play tonight was at 168, 407 ERA. Boy, oh boy, he's been so much better in the second half. 6-3 with a 349.
That one high to Nimmo, who's certainly been a thorn in the opposition side this year. You saw the 402 on base percentage. He takes inside 2-2. Second best in the National League, 5th best in the major leagues. And the last player to finish the season with an on-base percentage over 400, David Wright, who in 2007 on base at a 416 clip. And that one past the dive of Castro will help the average and the on base. A leadoff single for Nimmo.
Defense for the Marlins. tonight's ball game. Dean's going to get the start in left. Brinson in center. Sierra over in right. Ryan Anderson. Third base, Rojas and Castro, your middle infielders. O'Brien once again over at first. And JT behind the plate. Jose Aranea on the mound.
Here's Jeff McNeil. Fouls the first one back to the screen. 0-1. McNeil on the year, 329, which leads rookies. But just over the course of the month of September, hitting 340 in an extended look for the New York Mets in these waning weeks of the 2018 season.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Paul, I'd be surprised if he wasn't starting at second base for the Mets next season. He's played that well. I think that's a lot of the questions that you heard around this area here in New York. Because not only was this hot start good for McNeil, but it's been long enough to where I think a lot of people around here are investing in what they've seen and believe he'll be starting at second base next season. It's no longer a small sample size.
No, not at all. He has certainly held his own. An OPS of 860 since being called up. Slaps that one into the seats down the left field line, and it's a ball and 2 strikes. Marlins have 3 men on the right side of the infield against McNeil. That fastball misses inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Miguel Rojas, the lone infielder on the left side. Chopped up the middle. Castro, Rojas, and McNeil beats it out.
Yeah, we'll take another look. Aranea. There we go. Gets that fastball in. Jams him just a little bit. Two-hopper at Castro. And Neal got out of the box pretty well.
So now with 1 out and McNeil on first, that'll bring up Michael Conforto.
Now, Paul, if there's any person in this lineup that you're saying to yourself, don't let him beat you, this is your guy. Michael Conforto swinging the bat about as well as anybody in the National League right now. And he's got numbers against Aranea. 7 for 16 in his career. He's Major League Baseball, 9 homers, 29 RBIs in the month of September.
That one outside, 2 balls and no strikes. We saw enough of Conforto in that 4-game series, but this was off of Aranea, a homer to left center.
Yeah, it's a lot of what he's been doing right. Fair to say, gap to gap has been the approach from Conforto and power to all fields.
This one popped up left field line. Austin Dean, will he have enough room by a step or 2? He makes the catch in foul territory, and McNeil retreats to first.
Well, nice job by Dean getting himself into position to make the catch. Didn't time it. Got himself there early. Really not an easy catch when you've got to negotiate the foul territory here at Citi Field,
of which there is not much when you get to that spot. 63 degrees, 8-mile-an-hour wind, mostly cloudy. Neither team took batting practice on the field today. Tarp was on the field. Didn't see any rain, but certainly wouldn't have been surprised if it started to rain at some point. It was that kind of an afternoon here in New York. Yesterday, though, a beautiful day. Here's Jay Bruce. Runner goes. Throw from Real Muto is not in time. And McNeil with a stolen base.
Well, for McNeil, his 7th stolen base of the season. Got a pretty good jump. This is on Aranea, not really JT. We've seen this here a little bit in the month of September. A harder time holding on base runners. JT can make up some distance for a slow delivery, but not that much space, not that much time.
1-1 to Bruce. That one misses. Stay tuned. In the 7th inning, it's the Ram game break. We'll check back in with the guys in the studio. The final Friday of the regular season. 3 days left. Maybe. This National League is still up for grabs. I wouldn't be surprised if there's baseball somewhere on Monday. Knocked down by a real Muto, but no advance, and it's 3-1.
Yeah, I expect Aranea to be careful here. McNeil now at second base. Bruce 5 for 15 in his career against Aranea with a couple of home runs. This 3-1 pitch could be borderline at best. Expect him to challenge too much. Jay Bruce really been getting it done. Runners in scoring position. 3-10 on the season.
That one is low, so 2 on and 2 out. Time for T-Mobile, built for baseball. One of the races up for grabs is tied up in this game here this afternoon. Chris Bryant already up 2-0. Dead center field. Yeah, oh my is right. A long way out for the home run. That one off of Adam Wainwright, who could possibly have made his final start in the Cardinals uniform. 8-4 the final score there. So the Chicago Cubs at the moment, with the Brewers playing tonight, a game and a half up on Milwaukee. Chicago, Milwaukee both definitely into the postseason. It's just a matter of division winner or wild card. And with Milwaukee in the wild card, they are +4 on LA and 1.5 now on St. Louis. LA and San Francisco play later tonight. Colorado has the Nationals at home.
Well, I know for Cubs fans, they're happy to see Bryant back in the lineup. I got the distance on that home run, 448 feet. Oof. He was hit on the wrist, missed a couple of games.
Ahmed Rosario into right field. That's going to get down for a base hit. Here comes a throw from Sierra. It's cut off. The throw to second. Miggy keeps an eye on Bruce over at third. They'll apply the tag to Rosario, who gets the RBI single. Mets take a 1-0 lead, but we move to the second. As Peter O'Brien digs in, Anderson and Brinson to follow.
Let's go ahead and get you that AutoNation scouting report as we make our way through the second inning. First inning somehow sped up on us, right? That double play, strike him out, throw him out. Got Oswalt out of some trouble. I'll speak to it as quickly as possible. Daily dingers, let's pay attention to this, see if it happens. Has allowed homers in 7 of his 11 starts, including 4 in 1. Brinson's got a home run against him. Fastball effectiveness with Oswalt, I feel like this is exactly what the storyline will be in tonight's ball game. His secondary pitches have been incredibly inconsistent. It's been his major issue. Throws that four-seamer and the sinker 68% of the time. As I mentioned, the work in progress. The changeup batting average against 306, curve 318.
Peter O'Brien may have broken his bat on the fly ball out to Nimmo, 1 away. will bring up Brian Anderson with one away here in the second inning.
Marlins fans, be sure to join Fox Sports Florida and Coors Light at Dave & Buster's at the Dolphin Mall tonight as the Marlins take on the Mets. We'll have Coors Light specials and great prizes all night long. Dave & Buster's, Dolphin Mall, 11481 Northwest 12th Street, and over now.
Anderson fouls the first pitch back, and things have certainly straightened out for BA the last few days. He comes in with a 6-game hit streak, in which he is hitting .409 in that span. A home run, 5 runs scored, 6 RBIs.
I'm glad you brought that up, Paul. I'm sure we were going to bring it obviously up at some point. The importance that he finished strong, because this has been a very positive year, and I think for many of us, if it had gone right into the offseason with these 3 games and maybe he didn't heat up as much as he has over the last week or so, you'd still look back and say the doubles, the RBIs with runners in scoring position. I mean, there's so many good things that you take from this season, but I think for Brian Anderson personally, this is a great finish to what has been a very successful first year with the Marlins, first full season with the Marlins.
You always talk about that sophomore slump, and who knows? It was only a few weeks. But what would be encouraging is he sends this one into the gap in right center field, and this will be another double for Anderson. What was encouraging is that for the most part throughout this season, April through August that is, there were not many prolonged slumps.
Right.
So when he had that 2-week slump at the beginning of the month, now you see how he bounces back, and those adjustments have to be encouraging.
Well, you see as he takes a fastball, middle in, drives it into right center field. I mean, this is the patented Brian Anderson swing. We've seen it so many times this season, and certainly believe we're going to see it a lot more next year as well. Driving the ball the other way.
A runner in scoring position now for Lewis Brinson. A strike.
Listen, I'm not sure BA would like to write the story any other way, and I think it's a fun story to tell. I mean, of course, you know, we talked an awful lot Rookie of the Year stuff with Brian, and you know, everything that's kind of come his way this season. I mean, this is a Marlins ball club that's going through some transition, and the road's going to be a little bumpy.
Well, nice job by Brinson to hit a ground ball to the right side, move Anderson to third, although there are 2 outs in the inning.
The reason I mentioned the Anderson, the point the way that I do is that, you know, a lot of times I benefited from growing up in my first full season around a lot of veterans and a team that won an awful lot. I think of Soto, a lot of veterans around him, right, with the Nationals. I mean, you go around the league, you look anywhere. Acuna, he's got enough guys around him who have done it,
right,
that make the job easier. And I think for Brian Anderson, a lot of the learning he's doing is both as a young man who's playing as a rookie, but also as all the other rookies are looking at him, that ask him to show them the way. I mean, that's what, I mean, goodness, you should know. How many minions were there the other night?
A lot of minions.
10 minions? 12 minions?
A lot of minions.
we had like 10 or 12 minion Daves. My goodness. What does that tell you? I mean, that's kind of, but he lives with that pressure every day. I mean, this offense in a lot of ways has struggled this year, but he's been a big part of the good.
And he is on at third. For Austin Dean, who was ahead in the count, 3 balls and no strikes. And a 4-pitch walk. Runners on the corners. The first walk tonight for Oswalt. And in steps Magneuris Sierra. 1 for 8 with a walk and 2 strikeouts in the series against the Nationals. But 10 for 30 over his last 12 games. 3 RBIs, 4 walks. Back to the screen, 0-2. Double for Anderson with 1 out. Move to third on a ground ball and the walk to Dean. Marlins trying to tie the game here. Sierra doesn't chase, and Dean moves up to second base. So with 2 outs, a chance for Sierra to not only tie it, but give the Marlins the lead if he can get a hit with 2 strikes. Dean moving up on a wild pitch. Back to the full windup for Oswalt. That one in the dirt as well. 2-2.
Oswalt continues to attempt to get Sierra to chase that breaking ball, the curve ball. It's his kind of his go-to breaking pitch. Throws it again for a 3rd time. Interestingly enough, he's actually struck out more hitters with his 4-seam fastball than that curve. In fact, twice as many. Those are his top 2 pitches.
The 2-2 pitch to Sierra misses upstairs, and the count runs full. Working the count full after starting 0-2. He's fouled off a few pitches, and we'll see a payoff pitch from Oswalt. Chops one right side, and a 3-1 putout ends the threat. An inning and a half. 1-0 Mets.
Next season, Marlins Park will be the go-to destination for a first-class entertainment experience. All starts with a reimagined club experience, a fan-centric section, and an all-new Miami-themed weekend lineup of entertainment. For more information, visit marlins.com/ballpark enhancements.
Tell you what, that looks like Brian Anderson's brother.
Sure does.
We'll have to ask. Well, a Marlins fan nonetheless. I'm just saying. Both have their game face
Both
on.
are locked in right now, right?
Absolutely. Dominic Smith taps the first one foul. Smith and then Todd Frazier and Kevin Plawecki for the Mets here in the bottom of the second inning. An RBI single for Ahmed Rosario against Aranea in the first has given New York the early lead. I mentioned where the Mets were on July 2nd, and they were 15 games under 500. But if you go back to August 7th, they have really straightened things out. 29-19 since that date. That is the 4th best record in the National League. Only Colorado, St. Louis, and Milwaukee, 3 potential postseason teams, are better.
Now, one thing they've done, or maybe I should say it this way, a couple of things they've done better is play the National League East better. In fact, they've got a winning record now, and they've played better at home. We used to point this out. I know I used to point it out all the time. The Mets don't know how to win at Citi Field. Well, they're 11-5 in their last 16 ball games, so that's certainly improved. Callaway's hoping that carries over to next season. I think the Mets are kind of one of that. There's 2 clubs right now that are kind of being talked about as sleepers for next year, the Mets being one of them, along with the Pittsburgh Pirates seem to be everybody's darlings right now as well.
That's right. A good start from Vargas last night against the Braves. And Smith flies out to center field. Mets took 2 of 3 from the NL East champions before the Marlins came to town. There are 2 more left after tonight. Trevor Richards and Steven Matz, the 2 starting pitchers. Our coverage starts with the Marlins Live pregame show at 6:30. First pitch a little after 7. The last go around in 2018 for Richards. It'll be his 25th start. 4.66 ERA. Of course, there have been pockets of really good mixed in there as well. And as he looks toward 2019, it's just a matter of consistency. Todd Frazier takes a strike.
There aren't too many slumping Mets in the lineup. Frazier might be one of them. 133 here in the month of September. 0 for 10 on the homestand.
Well, his last home run, the Marlins certainly remember it. It was the walk-off home run, the second half of the back-to-back home runs. Conforto to tie it, Frazier to win it in the first game of that doubleheader on that Thursday a couple of weeks ago. So let's relive it, shall we? Out to left center field. Conforto had just tied the game, and then Frazier, the walk-off homer.
His 3rd career walk-off home run.
So Frazier walks with 1 out in the second.
Hey Marlins fans, now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by Coors Light. Download the app and take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
Kevin Plawecki, who had a home run last night, digs in and takes a called strike. Last couple of starts for Plawecki, 3 for 8, a double, that home run, 3 RBIs. Quite the carousel behind the plate for the New York Mets in September, as this one is drilled to the left toward the corner and foul. That disappeared into the corner. I looked at the third base umpire, Mike Klaczynski, who was right on top of it. Yeah, you could see right there that left turn by a couple of feet.
Yeah, Plawecki missed an extra base hit, just a foot or so. Yeah, their catchers in last night's win did all the damage. You were mentioning the carousel of catchers. As Araujo came on and hit a 3-run pinch hit home run, along with Plawecki's the only offense for the Mets.
After a loud strike, Frazier takes off, and Castro applies the tag.
Now, it's interesting. I was thinking back to the last series at Citi Field. In fact, Todd Frazier stole a couple of bases on the Marlins just that way, getting a little too, well, we'll call it frisky, thinking that Aranea is going to go towards home. Really no look, just kind of a take off from a short lead. Not this time. Aranea steps off and gets the easy out at second. He did that last time we were in.
How about that? Plawecki almost had a two-base hit down the line. Instead, it caught stealing and a strikeout. Still 1-0. The telecast is presented by authority of the Miami Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. So the Chrysler Building on the left, the Empire State Building on the right. Nice crisp autumn evening here in New York City. Jose Aranea to lead things off. And then the top of the order, Miguel Rojas and Starlin Castro. Quickly 0-2. And we talked about what's been going right for the New York Mets, and I think you could look at exactly what everybody hoped would be it for them, their bread and butter, the starting pitching, led of course by Cy Young frontrunner Jacob deGrom. But overall, last 52 games, their starting pitchers are 24-10 with a 2.73 ERA. So that's a nice run. But just take a look at the game started. 32 for deGrom, 29 for Wheeler, 29 for Matz, 24 for Syndergaard. He'll have one more. I mean, those are the guys that you leaned on if you're Mickey Callaway and the coaching staff. Wherever they were going to get this year, and it may be lower than the expectations, but it was your starting pitchers that were going to do it. And everybody stayed relatively healthy.
Right. And well, I think for Mets fans, they're hoping that that's going to be the case next year. I mean, you look at the starting staff and you include Zach Wheeler in there, you know, with Matz, and, you know, if everybody stays healthy and is who they're projected or supposed to be, many of us, you know, you look at this division, who's got a better starting staff than the Mets in the National League East? Nobody?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. You can think of Washington, right? But deGrom and Scherzer,
yeah, but I think they fall off after that. I'm talking.
Right.
I mean, even if you talk length of the rotation, right. I think it's, you know, maybe an advantage for them at the top if you want to go top two. But things are changing for the Nats.
And Vargas has certainly had his ups and downs, but he picked up the win last night. 7 innings, 3 hits, no walks, 6 strikeouts, and no runs. Three balls and a strike to Miguel Rojas, who singled and was thrown out on the backside of the strike him out, throw him out double play. And David Wright is here. People expect him to pinch hit at some point tonight. He will get the start tomorrow. And unfortunately for David Wright, that will be his final major league game. To first for Bruce. Let's check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, like you mentioned, Starlin Castro rejoining the Marlins after spending a couple of days on the paternity list. So we want to say congratulations once again to Starlin and mom Flora on welcoming a baby boy into the world. Meet Sterling DeJesus Castro, born on Tuesday, weighing 7 pounds, 7 ounces. And guys, I'm happy to report that mom and baby are both doing well.
Very good. And yeah, certainly was some stressful times, I'm sure, for Castro. You never know when that call is going to come, even as a dad with what you'd consider to be a normal job. But with these, you're in different cities, you got to get flights. Fortunately, he was there rather quickly, so that's good. That one in the dirt. A ball and a strike to Starlin, who struck out in the first inning. One of 3 strikeouts for Oswalt. Missed by just a bit. The crew chief Mike Winters behind the plate. Tim Timmons at first, Ryan Blackney at second, and Mike Machlinski is over at third. .31 pitch on the way is high, and that's the second walk issued by Oswalt. 1 on for the Marlins with 2 out. So it's JT Realmuto down on strikes to end the first inning. Tried to check his swing, didn't love how the at-bat ended. Let's see if he can come through with a 2-out hit here in the third. Keep this inning going, or perhaps give the Marlins the lead. His 21 home runs and 73 RBIs tops on the club. One and one. They check on Castro, who's back.
JT certainly wants to finish up strong this series in New York. He's got some good numbers against most of the Mets. Oswalt 2 for 6.
Check on Castro, who's back. 56 pitches to this point for Oswalt. 2 outs in the third. But just the 2 hits and the 2 walks. Runner goes on 3-2. McNeil in shallow center makes the play. 1-0 Mets through 2.5. The captain's last cruise. Very nice. Tomorrow night, Marlins live pregame show on the air at 6:30. First pitch a little after 7. The Mets announced a couple of weeks ago, in fact, when we were here for the last series at Citi Field, David Wright officially announced his pending retirement, and that the game on September 29th will be his final game. So that's tomorrow. Again, he may get a pinch hit opportunity at some point tonight. If that's the case, I'm sure this place will certainly erupt. It has been quite some time since he has played a major league game. This one chopped to second. Oswalt retired, and that is the first out. Time for the Toyota Inside Look. September ERAs in the National League. Jose Aranea at 1.13. Luis Castillo with the Reds at 1.09. So all in all, you go back, even the last couple of starts of August were spectacular. Had that complete game in Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. Well, we go back to, as you like to call it, the incident.
Right.
And things have been nothing but roses for Aranea. He's been winning. He's been pitching well. He's got great numbers across the board. He's been aggressive. I'm glad to see him back out for this start. I wasn't personally sure he was going to make it. If you remember, he was dealing with a hand cramp 2 starts ago. Then you had the IT ban going on his last start. He definitely wanted to get back out. Now in his 3rd inning of work. The reason I mentioned that, he's now pitching a career high 170 plus innings with tonight. It certainly means something to him. Career high coming into tonight's ball game. Well over 128 strikeouts. Those September numbers, that ERA, 2nd best in the National League, 4th best in Major League Baseball. And I guess what impressed me as well, batting average against, 6th best in the National League at 167. Only 14 hits allowed coming into tonight's ball game in the month of September.
Called strike to Nimmo. 3 balls and 2 strikes. A base hit for Brandon back in the 1st inning. They want to check over 3rd. No swing. So another walk for Nimmo to help his on-base percentage yet again.
Enjoy an experience that goes beyond baseball with Marlins Group membership. New group leader benefits and priority access to fan experiences. The 2019 season will be one to remember. Place a deposit before tomorrow and attend member batting practice. Visit marlinsenrollment.com.
Jeff McNeil fouls one away. McNeil reached on a fielder's choice, stole second, and came around to score a run in the first inning.
I'll tell you what, Nimmo's annoying. That's his 29th walk in September. I mean, that's
you mean that in a complimentary
absolutely
way? Yes.
No, I mean that is an opposing announcer's perspective. I mean, it is annoying. Constantly working the count and getting on base, what you want out of a leadoff hitter. You talked about his on-base percentage and how valuable it's been. He finds himself in that top spot for a reason. 29 walks in the month of September, second most in Major League Baseball. He sprints to first base, all eager to get over there.
I know, all hustling and stuff. Ball and 2 strikes to McNeil.
Well, Nimmo, not kidding aside, has had himself a very nice season for the Mets. I'll tell you, between Nimmo and McNeil, very similar approach, both from the left-handed batter's box. Wide stances, short, compact swings. Certainly power, gap to gap. Both could potentially hit double-digit home runs in just about every season, but you can see why they handle velocity and off-speed pitches equally well. Very simple approaches to hitting. Not a whole lot of moving parts, no leg kicks, no hip tucks.
StatCast AI is powered by AWS. This one tapped, and that is going to be an infield single. Kind of into no man's land as the Marlins have the chipped on with that 32% lane going right towards second base. Nobody was home.
Well, a walk and a 75-footer, and the Mets are in business, right? Runners on first and second. Guys with some speed, as you said, to the left side of the infield. That's Aranea or nobody.
So now 2 on and 1 out for Michael Conforto. To left field. Dean turns around, makes the play in front of the track, and having to go all the way back to first is McNeil. He had crossed over second base, and both runners were only about 20 feet from one another, but McNeil retouched and hustled back.
Yeah, maybe even a little less, but that's what you want to do as long as you know you can get back to first base. He was really stepping on that accelerator. If the ball gets over Dean's head, he was going to score.
Two on, 2 out for Jay Bruce, who walked in the first inning. Aranea has walked 3 tonight. Swinging at the first pitch. And Brinson, with plenty of room in center field, makes the play. So Aranea works into and out of some trouble in the third. 2018 season for Jacob deGrom may or may not end with a Cy Young Award. Max Scherzer certainly terrific with the 300 strikeouts, and maybe more if he goes on Sunday. But all in all, this year was terrific for Jacob deGrom.
Yeah, it certainly was. If he doesn't win, I'll be surprised. So I'm playing my hand right now. I know we talked a lot of Scherzer last series, and Scherzer dominant season. No disrespect. I don't think anybody's a loser here, but somebody's going to walk away with the hardware. I just feel like that separation in the ERA is going to be the ultimate deciding factor. It's the only place where you find a significant gap.
It is certainly a fun debate, and it has been fun to watch Peter O'Brien the last couple of weeks as he gets yet another base hit.
Real quick, while we were mentioning deGrom, good swing of the bat by O'Brien, because I want to get your take on it. Is 30 strikeouts significant?
Over 30 some odd starts.
Right.
It's a strikeout
but we're talking, you know, basically 10% of the total.
Right. Honestly, I think it's not just the total strikeout.
I think 300 carries more significance.
It's the number that he reached.
Interesting.
I mean, how many times do we talk about the Hall of Fame? Well, he got to 500 home runs or 300 wins. Those milestones sometimes mean something, especially in a day and age where 300. I mean, Sale last year and 2 or 3 years ago was Kershaw, right? And then not Pedro and Randy Johnson before that.
Well, all things considered. Now, Scherzer may pitch a little bit more. At least I was left with this impression. And again, there may have been news out of D.C. This is just me and going off of what we knew leaving D.C. was he wanted to get to 300, but knowing Scherzer, because the Colorado Rockies are still playing for something, if there's a little something in there, he may want to be part of it as far as going up against the Colorado Rockies.
Right.
Technically, I believe he's slated to start on Sunday, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Again, you know, so maybe there's a little bit more to tell. But I guess my point is, if the 30 strikeouts, and that's the separation between deGrom and Scherzer, is the .7 separation in their earned run average more significant? Because for me, it is. I mean, 30's big, but to me, an out's an out. And I guess maybe that's the hitter in me speaking more than anything. It's like, you know, 4-3 or a K is an out. I get it, but it's still an out.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, it's a fun debate. And when we were in Washington, D.C., their PR group did a terrific job filling out a legal-sized sheet of paper.
We had flyers all over.
Numbers and numbers and numbers, and it will be fun.
You hear that, Mets PR?
The first
Just saying.
The first week or so of November, the announcements will be made of all the award winners. But we show you these four. All four had terrific years in their own right, but I think if you asked anyone who's paid attention, it is between Max and deGrom.
Right. I mean, you can't. I mean, he's got the consecutive starts and, you know, doesn't have the wins to back it up. He's got just as many quality starts, although they're not consecutive. I mean, you know what I mean? We're kind of nitpicking here. I mean, if you want to make a big enough deal out of the wins, I think you're silly and you're going to go down a slippery slope there if you're going to say, well, Scherzer wins for me because he's got 18 wins and deGrom has only got 10, because then you slip down to the ERA and there's a big enough gap there to say, well, doesn't that mean something as far as the Mets offense doing a little bit more when he's got a 1.7 ERA? I believe his ERA is right around 1.7 in all those quality starts.
Yeah. Anderson works the walk, and the Marlins are in business here in the fourth inning. The leadoff base hit for O'Brien. And then the Anderson walk, so 2 aboard for Lewis Brinson. A ground ball to second base in his first at bat. Strike at the top of the zone. Last 21 games for Brinson, 10 RBIs and a chance for one here with O'Brien in scoring position. Brinson pops this one up shallow center field. Long run in for Nimmo, who makes the catch. And there is one away.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to fpl.com/beattheheat.
Austin Dean coming to the plate. 2 on 1 out. And he walked back in the second inning. Dean's last 5 games, 4 for 13, a little over 300. A home run, 3 RBIs. Nothing in 2. Upstairs to Dean. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Foul over the head of first base coach Perry Hill. Still 1 and 2.
Good job, Bone.
I trust his hands to make that play. If it was within reach, he would have had it.
He's got his elbow pad on.
Absolutely.
Make sure he doesn't get hit in the elbow.
One and 2 pitch is fouled right back to the screen. Oswalt, that is. His next pitch will be number 75. 41 of them have been strikes. His last time out was a 5-inning effort. And his 6th stint with the Mets this year. 1-2. Blocked by Plawecki.
Now, part of the problem is the value, as I like to say, with the breaking ball. He continues to throw it to get the strikeout. The Marlins, they're not biting, chase the breaking ball too often, but he continues to throw it. So we've seen a number of them for balls tonight. As I mentioned, so much of his starts are really defined by that fastball, the command and the ability to get outs. He ends up leaning on his fastball probably more than any other pitch. Must be hard to pick up. Again, doesn't possess tremendous velocity. The batting average against that fastball just 180 on the season.
The 8th pitch of the at-bat is lined off the glove of Bruce and into right field. O'Brien held at third, and the Marlins will have the bases loaded.
Now that little bit of a deflection held the base runners. O'Brien at second, Anderson at first, because there was a chance that it might be caught. This changeup down, as I mentioned, really struggling with the secondary pitches. Nice job by Dean going the other way. See Bruce's reaction. Marlins will have an opportunity with the bases loaded here in the top of the 4th.
So here's Sierra. Ground ball to Bruce back in the second. He takes the ball outside. 20 pitches this inning. Third consecutive inning with at least 20 pitches. In the first, but working up towards 80 with one out here in the fourth inning. Inside. Three balls and a strike to Sierra. Ryan, the runner at third, he led off the inning with a single. Anderson, the runner at second, he walked, and Austin Dean at first after a base hit. To second for McNeil. And Sierra is able to beat it out, allowing O'Brien to score. And the Marlins have tied the game at 1. Thankfully, the speed of Sierra, because McNeil and Rosario turned it rather quick.
Now, hit somewhat hard. One hopper to McNeil. Sierra gets out of the box fast and finishes fast, as you mentioned, tying up this ball game. RBI ground out for Sierra.
And now Aranea. Strikeout victim his first time up. Big ol' hack. The IT band is feeling good tonight. Sierra goes. No throw from Plawecki. So the Marlins have 2 in scoring position. See what Aranea can do on 0-2. Cuts and misses, but Sierra's RBI ground out has tied the game. 1-1 Marlins and Mets through 3.5. Southwest Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic. Trust the #1 hospital in Miami, Fort Lauderdale with your care. And by La Lechonera, the original mojo since 1970. George Washington Bridge. As Jose Aranea is back for the bottom of the 4th inning. Now a tie game. Well, of course, it has unfortunately been an underlying theme throughout his season. Has been a low number in terms of the run support. Right now, the Marlins have at least tied the game, heading to the last of the 4th, where Ahmed Rosario, Dominic Smith, and Todd Frazier will bat against Aranea.
Well, I'll tell you what, Arena's kind of pitched through that lack of run support his last few outings. He's been picking up wins. You're right. They've scored just a few more runs for him, but it's been all he's needed. Now at least he knows what the threshold is. He's got to be absolutely dominant, awesome dominant, top 5 in the National League if he wants to pick up wins.
Last time he was here, the only run that he allowed was a Steven Matz home run. As Rosario leads it off. Tap foul. My mistake. It was actually Alcantara that gave up the home run to Matz. Slow roller up the third base line, but Anderson will touch it in foul ground. Back at you tomorrow night. It'll be a special night for Mets fans and frankly for baseball fans too. I think anybody who loves the game of baseball can certainly respect what David Wright has been able to do, and just as a human kind of have taken away from him these last few years. It'll be his final game. We're on the air with the South Florida Honda Dealers Marlins Live pregame show at 6:30. Trevor Richards and Steven Matz when it gets underway shortly after 7 o'clock.
Well, any good Marlins fan who knows Marlins history has a fond, well, I shouldn't say fond, maybe it's not fond of David Wright. I hope that tomorrow night it'll be fond because, again, it's somewhat of a tragic story because David Wright has been one of the game's best third basemen throughout his career. And I guess the reason I bring that up is that he's on that list that Chipper Jones is on. You know what I mean? Top 3 hits against, top 3 batting average. I mean, like if you go back and look at over the last 25 years of Marlins history, top 5 anything offensive against the team, his name shows up most of the time.
Rosario just fouled down the left field line. Yep, you're right. And unfortunately, it hasn't just been one injury. It's been multiple injuries. If they all stem from one another, I'm no doctor to know. But here's the deal: is that he was on track to be a great player, and David Wright has certainly been a great Met, no matter what. Right? Rosario swings and misses on the 9th pitch of the at-bat, and Aranea gets his 2nd strikeout.
A nice job using the changeup to finally get that strikeout. Arena's done a nice job attacking the strike zone. 12 of 14 first pitches for strikes.
And David Wright has a helmet and his batting gloves on. The pitcher's spot is 4 spots away right now. So could be the spot, and I'm sure it's looking around, the lower bowl here is just about full. The 2nd and 3rd levels are pretty full, and I would say the lower half of the upper deck is full around the ballpark. So as Smith gets the base hit into center field, I would say whenever Wright comes out, they'll pick up on it and will give him certainly a big hand, as he has not played a major league game since May 27th, 2016.
Well, without getting into it too much tonight, and I know we'll get into it maybe a little bit during his at-bat. Well, maybe not. Probably just try to enjoy that moment. But the point is that I think fans need to know the effort and labor that is going even into tonight's at-bat as far as what he's dealing with the spinal stenosis and the hours to get ready that he had to even for tonight's pinch hit at-bat. That's what tomorrow's about, and again, understanding what his career, why his career hasn't been able to, get back on track is so much of that. It's my understanding that hours, as you see him kind of stretching in the dugout, just to prepare for tonight's predetermined pinch hit at bat.
Frazier, a soft pop-up behind the second base bag. It'll be Castro for out number 2. And Wright has come into the on-deck circle. Fans noticing that. But it's Plawecki to take the at-bat. Pitcher spot due up next. And an ovation just to come into the on-deck circle.
$25,000 phone calls.
Something like that.
There are too many people that don't have a phone in their hand right now trying to record David Wright.
Grounded to short. They get the out at second, and that ends the inning. So Wright's at bat will wait. They may look at it. No, they are not going to. All right, so we are through 4, and we still await the return of Wright. His first at bat since May of 2016, but this was him taking batting practice on Wednesday afternoon. And that smile, to see that back, no matter how these at bats, however many of them there are, just to be back in uniform, just to be back at the major league level, to be able to wrap things up kind of on his terms, I'm sure it means the world to him.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It's good to see him just take his batting practice. You're absolutely right about that. It's been a couple of years.
Miguel Rojas toward the left center field gap. That's going to get down, get off the wall. And it's a leadoff double for Miggy to open the 5th.
Well, nice job by Rojas. Ready for the first strike that he sees. Gets a fastball down in the zone at the knees, but out over the plate and drives it into left center field. Two-hit night for Rojas. First double of the ball game. Marlins once again in business. Yeah, Sewald's been struggling a bit here as this season winds down. 12 earned runs in his last 13 1/3. ERA just under 9.
The numbers for Sewald in his 46th game this season.
0-6 record certainly stands out as he's pitching in a 1-1 ball game.
On in relief of Cory Oswalt, 4 innings, 4 hits, a run, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts. One of those 3 walks was to Castro in the 3rd. One of those 4 strikeouts to Castro in the 1st. He's down to the count 1-2.
Sewald has suffered 12 losses to begin his major league career. That's the 2nd longest streak in team history to begin a career.
Anthony Young?
That's a good guess.
He had like 21 or something, right?
Yeah, that's a pretty big number. I don't remember the exact number, but I
must not have been to
you're
start
right.
the career. If you need me, I'll be down a rabbit hole.
Bye-bye. Let me know when you're back.
Chop foul wide of 3rd.
Oh, you're a multitasker.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, I watch a pitch, I give the impression I'm paying attention, but I'm really trying to find this. 27 consecutive decisions for Anthony Young, but that must not have been to start his career. On the ground to Rosario. Up with it to get Castro, and there's 1 out in the 5th. Geico presents this day in Marlins history. September 28, 2003. Juan Pierre, Major League best 65th stolen base. A 4-0 win over the Mets. That set a Marlins club record. Second of 3 career stolen base crowns. 46 in 2001, 65 in 2003, and 68 in 2010. 18th all time for JP.
Yeah, between he and Louis Castillo, it was just on base percentage and stolen bases. Top 2 spots in our lineup in 03. My goodness. Juan had a fantastic season, as did Louis.
Rojas thought about it. Looked like he had a good jump. I don't know if it was just a bluff, but he's back to 2nd. Maybe he didn't have as good a jump as he would have wanted to try to take 3rd. A little low, 2-1 to Real Muto. He struck out and popped up. Two and two. To 3rd for Frazier. 2 away in the 5th. So it's up to Peter O'Brien. Man on 2nd and 2 outs. O'Brien is single and a run scored in the 4th. 1 for 2 tonight. And he takes a strike.
He continues to hit. He's been impressive. Other quality at bats, 9 RBIs. Obviously the power and the home runs and doubles as well. David Wright. I'm going to go go ahead and assume he's going to get the pinch hit opportunity in the bottom of the inning.
O'Brien to left. That's a fair ball and heading toward the corner, as that's going to bring home Miguel Rojas. On to second is O'Brien with another extra base hit, and RBI double. And the Marlins have a 2-1 lead.
I'll tell you what, Peter O'Brien has been, as I just said, as impressive as he could hope to be. It's been a nice month of September. It's his fastball, inner third, probably even more in than the pitch he took, the strike he took. Puts it into that left field corner, an RBI double. Nice job with 2 outs.
So his last 15 games, he's now 16 for 45.
It's some kind of hot.
4 homers, 10 ribbies in that stretch as Anderson takes the ball outside. Anderson's been on twice, had a double in the second, walked in the fourth. That double his 34th. He's chasing Mike Jacobs and Gabby Sanchez, who are third on the Marlins rookie list. Two and one. Extended his hit streak to 7 with that second inning double. And looking to extend the lead if he could bring home O'Brien. Inside. Started the day 6th in Major League Baseball, a .367 hitter with runners in scoring position.
And he seems to be at his best. A bit more patient with runners in scoring position. To be a bit more aggressive with nobody on.
That one low, and he walks for the second time tonight.
Third time on for Brian Anderson. Good at bat, didn't get a whole lot to hit.
Gagnon in the Mets bullpen. Brinson steps up. 0 for 2 today, ground ball and a fly out. And a called strike at the bottom of the zone. Brinson able to hold up even at 1-1. And it was not a double switch for the Mets, so the pitcher spot will lead off. That's why we keep showing David Wright. It was in the on deck circle, and in all likelihood would have taken that at bat if the inning had continued.
I can only imagine the amount of nervous energy that's going through David Wright right now, as long as it's been since his last big league ball game.
Brinson, left field.
Get away from him.
That's going to get down. O'Brien will score. Anderson on his way to third. He gets there, and another RBI double. This time it's Brinson, and the Marlins have a 3-1 lead.
Well, he saw how Peter O'Brien did it and said, you know what, I'll try it myself. Let's work that corner down the left field line. The slider didn't do much. It stayed up and out over the plate. You see Plawecki kind of reaching back towards the middle. That's the miss. Brinson kind of catches it off the end, but a good swing. Dominic Smith, as I mentioned, only his 8th game in left field. Check that 9th game in left field in his career.
Been used primarily as a first baseman the last couple of weeks, but again, trying to get a gauge as to where Dominic Smith fits in the Mets' plans. Gagnon, by the way, not Gagnon. Disregard the spelling. Gagnon has sat down. Daniel Zamora now up. 2 in scoring position. Here's Austin Dean. Walk in the second, a single in the fourth. Three doubles in the inning for the Marlins, 2 of which have driven in runs, give them a 3-1 lead. Right on the corner, 2-2. Three-two pitch to Dean. Called strike 3. David Wright figures to lead things off. Marlins now have a 3-1 lead as we go to the last of the 5th. Right into the on-deck circle. Welcome back. Now David Wright has been announced as the pinch hitter. His first major league game since May 27, 2016. A span of 854 days. Swings at the first pitch. One third baseman to another as Anderson gets booed. But David Wright has made his way back to the big leagues, and he will start tomorrow night's game, the final game of his career.
I'll tell you what, Paul, that was a pretty good swing. Aranea didn't back off. I know that ball was probably middle, but it certainly had some velocity behind it. 96, 97 miles an hour. He hit it hard right at Anderson. Could have gone through.
You wait 854 days, you're not working the count.
Yeah, probably not.
Especially not when you were in the on-deck circle.
Well,
you
got a standing ovation going on. You've got 25,000 people who are all waiting on you. Yeah, it's not about working the count. He was just hoping that maybe he'd get a center-cut cookie from Aranea. That probably wasn't going to be the case, but I give him some credit. Watch. Let's take another look. Kind of tails back in, so it ends up middle, right about the knees, and he's on time. His credit. Brian Anderson, nice play. That short hop. Now that at bat is a precursor to tomorrow, so don't forget, fans. I mean, if you're a David Wright fan and you certainly are interested in what will be his last ball game as a professional, you're going to want to tune in tomorrow night. We're going to have it for you. It's going to be a special place. My understanding, sold out crowd expected here at Citi Field. I'll tell you, he was moving down the line pretty well too. I was watching him run after the ground ball. He got from home to first pretty well.
So does Nimmo. A base hit.
Bothersome, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's just told you.
Second hit of the game,
he's
and
pesky like that, isn't he?
Third time he's been on base.
There it is.
Well, Aranea a 3-1 lead to work with. A couple of RBI doubles in the top of this inning. A leadoff double by Rojas. He came in on the O'Brien double, and then Brinson a double to bring home O'Brien. Here's McNeil. Cut on and missed at 94 on the outside corner, 0-1. For McNeil, he's reached twice, scored in the first inning, singled in the third. I know it's tough to evaluate players. We've talked about this maybe on and off the air a few times. It's tough to truly evaluate players in September. But when you see a guy like McNeil who sends one out to center field, an easy play for Brinson, you wonder how that 340 at the start of play will translate going into the offseason and into the spring. Time for the Florida Lottery in-game jackpot on Michael Conforto. Before and after the All-Star break, two different players. Look at the 200-plus point jump in OPS, 6 more home runs. Keep in mind there are fewer games played after the All-Star break as well, so the sample sizes are not equal. But a guy that's come around for the Mets in the second half.
Yeah, certainly hoping that transitions into 2019. He's a big part of their plans. See where he hits in the lineup. Certainly the damage he's done in the second half.
And that's the thing. I mean, with the pitching staff, with Nimmo, with Conforto, still have another year of Frazier under contract. McNeil, you'd figure as to why the Mets didn't sell at the deadline, why DeGrom might win a Cy Young as a member of the Mets, why Syndergaard will start on Sunday in the season finale.
Yeah, I think this team, at least in my opinion, is probably a little bit closer, and I know I'm just using 11-1 because that's what their start was. It's probably closer to that than a team that would be 11 games under 500. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? They're a good ball club. I mean, you look at their starting staff, you look at their offense. You know, yeah, they've got some soft spots and maybe some places they can improve. I don't know what they're going to do this winter, but when you look at them right now, I mean, you understand why they played so well over the last couple of months. Health is such a big thing with the Mets for some particular reason. Let's not forget, Yoenis Cespedes wears the Mets uniform. We haven't said that name all year.
Yeah, you're right. He played. I have to go back and look. He probably doesn't have more than 15 at bats.
That's my point, right? I mean, he's been out of sight, out of mind.
Three balls and 2 strikes to Conforto. Runner goes. Conforto drills one to center field. But Brinson able to get there a step onto the track to make the catch. Marlins have a 3-1 lead going to the 6th. A 3-1 Marlins lead going to the top of the 6th inning. Magniori's Sierra to lead things off, then Jose Aranea and Miguel Rojas, the 3 batters due up. Drew Gagnon will take over. This is his 5th game of the season. 3rd pitcher tonight for the Mets after 4 from Oswalt and an inning from Sewald.
Gagnon, small body of work, just 10 1/3 innings. Earned his first major league win September 9th versus the Phillies. Pitched well of late. His 5 2/3 innings scoreless.
Sierra thought about the bunt, pulled it back. He grounded out in the 2nd inning and reached on a fielder's choice that brought home the Marlins' first run back in the 4th. 0-2. Ankles of Sierra, a ball and 2 strikes. Marlins have 7 hits to the Mets 5. side. McNeil up with it quick. Had to be with Sierra. 1 out.
It's easy to beat the heat when you become an energy-saving expert. Go to FPL.com/beattheheat.
A strike to Aranea, who struck out a couple of times tonight. A little high, 2-1. Gagnon, originally a third-round pick of the Milwaukee Brewers in 2011. The Mets picked him up, a minor league free agent in December.
And 27 starts in the minor leagues this season. 68 strikeouts and 156 innings of work.
And Aranea walks. One out. Time for the Chevrolet Prospect Spotlight. Chad Smith, not the drummer of the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but rather the pitcher for the Jupiter Hammerheads. 30 games, a 3.57 ERA, 45 strikeouts, 12 saves, which was 4th in the Florida State League, an 11th round pick of the Marlins in 2016. And Miguel Rojas having himself a nice night. A broken bat single, his 3rd hit of the game.
Well, he sure has. I tell you, Miggy Rose come out swinging it tonight. He's been aggressive. He's looked for that first good fastball and some good swings on it. So for the action tonight, he's got a base hit to right, a base hit to center, and a double into left center. 3 hits.
Rojas, his 3rd hit of the night, and Arena's 2nd career walk is over at 2nd for Starlin Castro, who takes a strike. Castro is 0 for 2, struck out in the 1st, walked in the 3rd, and grounded out in the 5th. Off the glove of Frazier and into foul territory. Aranea getting waved around. Throw from Frazier is not in time. And Gagnon with a terrific backup, or else that ball still would have been rolling around.
I'll tell you, it is so much fun to watch Aranea turn on the jets when he's running the bases. We don't get to do this very often, in part because, well, Arena's just not on base a whole lot this season. But when he gets going, man, oh man, is he fun. All right, first the base hit off the glove of Frazier. It's going to trickle down into the corner, but not too far. It's where the middle infielders have to get it by the tarp. Wasn't sure if Freddie was going to send him around 3rd, but boy, oh boy, he was aggressive sending him. Frazier down into the corner, comes up with the throw, and he just beats it.
So it'll go down as an E5 on Frazier. Castro at 2nd, Rojas at 3rd. Mets have the infield halfway, down 4-1. The 12th error this year on Frazier. Ripped foul into the Marlins dugout. Look out. think that actually hit right off the roof of the dugout. Swung on and missed. And Real Muto is 0 for 4 tonight. Second time he's gone down on strikes.
That'll open up another opportunity for Peter O'Brien, who's been the main run producer for the Marlins over the last week or 10 days. For 3 tonight. RBI double last time up.
Marlins have scored in 3 straight innings. 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, 1 so far here in the 6th, with 2 in scoring position and 2 outs for O'Brien. He follows another one back. 0-2. To right field. Conforto makes the play. Marlins pick up another. Lead at 4-1.
One ball game as we head to the bottom of the 6th. Hey, the Marlins have a very cool event coming up tomorrow at Marlins Park. It's called Swing for Your Seats, and everyone is welcome to attend. Not only are you going to have the opportunity to test out your seat location for the 2019 season, but you can also win money towards your new membership plan, courtesy of the Marlins, if you can knock one out of the park. For more information, visit marlins.com/swing. Guys.
Jessica, thanks. That's a really cool promotion. Go to the ballpark, take your hacks, and then try to get some stuff for free. And that's kind of where I roll. getting some free stuff. Jay Bruce, Ahmed Rosario, and Dominic Smith here in the 6th inning against Jose Aranea, who now has a 3-run lead to work with.
Well, Aranea has been good. 18 of the 21 batters and he has faced to this point have seen a first pitch strike. He has been attacking the zone, and after that run in the 1st inning. You and I talked about this in Aranea. He's coming back from the suspension. You know, the mound presence has been a bit different. That he doesn't or hasn't always. And again, I've seen every start he's made since the beginning of 2017, pitched with swagger and confidence, but no, there's been an extra level of maturity, it seems, here over the last 6 or 7 starts.
Jay Bruce down the right field line, but this one will hook foul. Yeah, there certainly is with Aranea. You know, again, you go back to opening day that he got the start, but in spring there was kind of that back and forth. Is it going to be him? Is it going to be Straley? And just because of Straley's injury, it happened to be Aranea. But what we've seen this last month, and I get that there's an offseason and a spring in between, but he's pitching like he is the ace of this staff, wants to continue to be the ace of this staff, and continue to get opening day starts.
I think we pointed it out after the Phillies start, which was a big start for the Philadelphia Phillies at the time. Ball 4 to Jay Bruce. The reason I bring that up, we compared and kind of contrasted. Remember, in that ball game against Philadelphia Phillies, gave up a home run to Cesar Hernandez to start the ball game. Go all the way back to start number 1, opening day. Gave up a home run on the first pitch of this season in half of the Chicago Cubs. Right? How he reacted after the first homer, not so good with the Cubs game. Didn't go well after that, and things very... Well, he hit 3 guys and walked 3 guys in that 1st inning. Now you go back to the Phillies game, which was just a few starts ago. Shrugged his shoulders, said, all right, hit my first pitch out for a home run. He settled down. That was the only run they got. In fact, retired the next 3 hitters in the inning. I mean, I thought that was a tremendous reflection of how much he's grown up.
Rosario with the ground ball to short, and the double play ball. Time for the Bonefish Grill fresh catch of the day. A high fly ball out to right center field, and look at Billy Hamilton able to make the catch.
Wow. Caught it over Irvin, the defender.
Yeah.
At the back of the end zone. Little did he know that his teammate was going to try and knock this down. Well, that's a tremendous catch by Billy Hamilton. I'll tell you, Paul, you know, communication on a catch like that is out the window. There's no I got it. Right. That's just 2 guys going for the baseball and trying to come down with it. Although if I had the opportunity to ask Irvin, I certainly would. What are you doing, man? Defending him? I mean, it looked like he was trying to bat the pass down.
Yeah. And fortunately, both guys looked to be unscathed after that. So that was good, but a terrific effort in Cincinnati, where the Pirates have a 5-2 lead in the 7th inning. There are certainly some big games around Major League Baseball. We'll go through the scoreboard when there aren't 2 strikes and 2 outs in an inning. But let's just say that fortunately in the National League, there is a lot of drama left in these last 3 days. Tyler Bachelor with the bullpen coach Ricky Bonas on the left. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Dominic Smith, who's 1 for 2 tonight. And a single back in the 4th. Out to left field, that is Dean to make the play, and Aranea another 6 strong innings. And at 96, that could be it. 4-1. This last weekend of the regular season certainly has a lot of drama in it. Christian Yelich, who has been playing himself into the National League MVP discussion and might be leading it at this point, many people's eyes, is adding another home run, his 34th of the season. He is up over 100 RBIs. He's now got 106 on the year. And the Brewers with a 4-3 lead at the moment over the Detroit Tigers. Of course, the Brewers at the start of the day chasing the Chicago Cubs, who won this afternoon. So it's a game and a half separating those two teams at the moment, as Brian Anderson swings at the first pitch here in the 7th and registers another base hit. 2 hits, 2 walks for BA tonight.
Brian Anderson on 4 times. I was just doing a little tally on Anderson. How about this? 106 of his 152 hits on the season have gone to center or to right center. Wow. That's his approach. Middle away.
He's aboard for Lewis Brinson, who had an RBI double back in the 5th.
Now, you were mentioning Yelich kind of playing himself into that MVP conversation. What has he got, a 2-run home run tonight? Did I see you? Is that right?
Yep.
Just making my way back to my seat as you were filling us in.
Handling the business.
I appreciate that. Now 8 homers and 30 RBIs in September. Right place, right spot, right time, with everybody watching.
Yeah.
And that's how you win an MVP award.
Yep.
It's an OPS of 1,000. I think I'm saying this right. I always wonder how we're supposed to say this. It's 1.209. That was going into tonight without the 2-run homer.
Yeah. Well over 1,000. That one gets through Rosario, and Anderson heads to 3rd. So Brinson aboard. Marlins have runners on the corners. Nobody out here in the 7th.
Well, back-to-back hits for Brinson. Been a bit of a slow trip for a few guys, but I'll tell you what. It's been pretty impressive here over the last couple of innings. The Marlins getting some good contact. This ball hit hard. It's past Rosario. Enjoy an experience that goes beyond baseball with Marlins membership. Starting at just 10 games, you'll be able to enjoy the season Saturday, Sunday, or a variety plan. All memberships give you access to our exclusive new benefits like ticket exchange, savings at the ballpark, and special experiences. Visit marlinsenrollment.com. It all starts here. Did you forget it, Paul?
I've not forgotten anything. I know where it starts.
All starts right here.
Here. I got you. Loud and clear, pal.
All right.
See if Dean can keep it going. The Marlins have had a lot of traffic on the bases the last 4 innings now. They again scored in the 4th and the 5th and the 6th. And in the 7th as well, an RBI single for Dean. Anderson scores. Brinson hustles into 3rd. And it's now 5-1.
Yeah, the Marlins really opening it up. Good swing from Dean. Great read by Brinson. He did a nice job reading Nimmo on this. Nimmo gave up. This changeup down. It's 2 hits tonight on the changeup for Dean. Lines it in. Now watch Nimmo pulls up, telling Brinson that he for sure is going to play it on a hop. Now, Brinson turned on the jets, got himself into 3rd base. It's the kind of base running you like to see. Your young Marlins.
So another 1st and 3rd situation for Sierra. And another run late in the ball game. Talked so much about the New York Mets and Jacob deGrom and the win total, and they're not scoring for him, but there have also been games where the bullpen has let it get away. Marlins had the lead already coming into this inning. However, the Mets coming into tonight, 268 runs allowed from the 7th inning on. That's the most in Major League Baseball. The Marlins a chance to really tack on. With runners on the corners and no outs, Derek Dietrich is on deck, and Jose Aranea is getting the handshakes and the hugs after a terrific finish to the 2018 season. Kicks away, and a great jump by Brinson.
Tell you what, Brinson's base running instincts on display the entire time he was on the bases all the way around. And he saw that pitch down early. You're absolutely right, Paul. He got a great break from 3rd and scored easily. Brinson, read, gone. That's exactly what you want. You anticipate the ball in the dirt as a young base runner. You realize that even if that ball is kept in front, you're still probably not going to get Brinson at home.
So now Dean in scoring position. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Sierra, and it's a 6-1 Marlins lead.
Oh, he did it. I told you a couple of starts ago I was kind of keeping my eye on this. We're talking about Aranea, another outstanding start. Was able to get his ERA under 4.
Really?
3.98.
Perfect.
There you go. That's right. Every time to get him out. We talk about sometimes setting up goals for yourself in the month of September when, sometimes, listen, when you're going up against teams that are trying to get in, you're motivated. But sometimes you have to find ways to motivate yourself in the month of September. And when you're playing the Mets are doing the exact same thing against you. Sometimes it gets a little bit more personal. I said a couple of starts ago, for Aranea, as good as he's been, he's got to keep pitching this way. Maybe he can get that ERA under 4, and he did just by that much. 3.98 on the season.
Kyle Bearclaw up in the Marlins bullpen. Again, Dietrich in the on-deck circle. Grounded foul, still 3-2. Cut on and missed, and that's the first down here in the 7th inning.
Now this game certainly has a little bit more to go, but the Marlins up 6-1. The reason I bring it up, Aranea searching for his 9th win. He started out this season, Paul, 0-6. So what does that tell you? He would finish this season on a 9-6 run since his first win. That's pretty impressive when you add everything up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And I'm sure if Jacob deGrom heard this, he would just give us a death stare. But how many more wins would there have been if Aranea got some run support?
Now the both of them.
Well, that's why.
And that's what's so interesting, right?
That's why deGrom would stare through us.
Right. I actually think Aranea gets less run support than deGrom, though.
I think you're right. Dietrich takes a ball. .16 homers and 45 RBIs on the season for Dietrich. The Marlins giving some looks to some youngsters. The at-bats, unfortunately for Double D, have been fewer and further between. Last 17 games, just 42 at-bats and a couple of RBIs. He was 2 for 6 in the series in Washington. Rame up in the Mets bullpen. Another ground ball foul wide of first. Wearing out that first base line, isn't he?
He certainly is. He's staying into the inside lane, trying to use that changeup fastball combination to throw off Dietrich's timing. Go back in one more time.
So here's the final tally of run support. For Aranea, 3.7 runs a game. For deGrom, 3.5. Still pretty clse.
But more importantly, I was correct.
Right.
That's okay.
Good. Usually the case. Yeah. Right? Am I right?
It was just a gut feeling. I don't know. I felt like he did.
Glad it worked out. 158.5 games. Have you been wrong once?
I don't know if I was going to get called on it, though. I mean, I kind of just went off the gut right there. I was pretty sure where I was going, but I'm not 100% sure. Now Miguel Rojas has had himself an outstanding night tonight. 2 singles, double, a run, 3 hits. Got that average up over 250, sitting in at 252.
This is low and away. Ball and no strikes. It was Miggy that started that 5th inning rally with the leadoff double against Seawald. Came around to score. An inning in which the Marlins scored 2 runs. They have 2 so far here in the 7th, and a 5-run cushion on the Mets in the opener of this 3-game series to close out the 2018 season. And how about the night from Miguel Rojas? A base hit up the middle. That brings home Dean. And Miggy's terrific night continues. It's now 7-1 Miami. And with Just 2 games left after this one. Miguel Rojas with his first 4-hit game of the year.
Yeah. A little bit more aggressive tonight, but not missing his pitch. Certainly a big part of this. Fastball, middle, drives it right back through the box.
Now Starlin Castro. First 4-hit game this year for Rojas and 3rd of his career. Castro pokes one past the dive of McNeil and into right center field. Miggy on his way to 3rd. And Castro gets a base hit. And finally, Mickey Callaway is going to come out and make a change. The hits just keep on coming for the Marlins. 3 runs home in the 7th inning as Callaway makes the Florida lottery call to the bullpen. Marlins in front by 6 here in Queens. Two outs and a pitching change. The new Monopoly jackpot scratch off from the Florida lottery is a new spin on a classic with a top prize of $5 million. So unleash the excitement anytime. The Florida lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. Jacob Rame into the ball game for the Mets, his 29th of the year. Runners on the corners and JT Realmuto at the plate.
Well, 8 home runs and 30 innings of work certainly helps add up to that 6.30 ERA. Paul, get this. I think we may have talked about this with Jacob before. Now he's allowed 11 earned runs in his last 14 innings of work. That ERA up over 7. This is the 10th time he's been with the club this season. 10th.
Well, it's a short trip to Vegas, isn't it?
Unbelievable. Wow, what a number that is.
And the good news is he'll be able to go to Europe for free with all those airline miles.
What do you figure? Vegas to New York, what does that got to be, at least
2,500 miles?
3,000? Yeah.
It's 3,000 from coast to coast, so you figure, yeah, it's about 500 less than coast to coast. So here's a base hit up the middle. JT Realmuto with his first hit of this game and this series, and snaps an 0 for 14 with an RBI single. It is now 8-1.
Yeah, the Marlins have scored in 4 consecutive innings for this inning. 1 in the 6th, 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 4th. The hits just keep on coming.
Peter O'Brien pops this one foul over our heads. O'Brien, a nice night. 2 more hits for him. He's got his average up to almost 300 in his now 3+ weeks with the club. 4 homers, 10 ribbies, and an RBI double back in the 5th. Right on the edge, a ball and 2 strikes. A 4-hit night for Miguel Rojas. A couple of runs scored. An RBI. 8 runs, 13 hits for the club as Kyle Bearclaw continues to loosen. Figures to get the bottom of the 7th with at least a 7-run lead. O'Brien swings and misses. 97 miles an hour from Rain, but the Marlins push 4 runs across. We check in with the studio for the Ram game break. Marlins 13 hits and another terrific start for Jose Aranea, who has been phenomenal since the end of August. And Kyle Bearclaw takes over. We'll face Todd Frazier to lead things off, a pinch hitter. Looks like Jose Lobaton on deck. 60th game for Bearclaw. Opponents hitting less than 200 against him this season. Of course, the National League reliever of the month in June. And on in relief of Jose Aranea. And a strike to Frazier. The last time Bearclaw saw Frazier, Frazier had the walk-off home run.
Well, it's a bit of a frustrating second half for Bear Claw, no doubt about it. You're looking for a little redemption right here.
For one with a walk and a caught stealing in the second inning. With the 0 for 1 tonight, just 10 for 76 in September for Frazier. He takes a strike 2.
I think for Bear Claw, there's still definitely some things that you cling to as far as where next year might look or what next season could look like once again. I mean, obviously in June, the 0.45 batting average against, I mean, he was having a phenomenal month. I mean, that's not pitching to the norms, and I guess that's kind of what I'm getting at. But at the same time here in the second half, watching some of his struggles, that's not pitching to the norms either. It's probably somewhere more towards the middle, if you know what I mean. His opponent's batting average against, I guess, is one thing that sticks out for me. You look at it like this. See, Todd Frazier gets the leadoff walk. He's 16th in the National League on the season with a 198 opponent's batting average against. And if it stays there or lower than 200, it would only be the 12th time in team history that a Marlins reliever had an opponent's batting average against under 200. I mean, that's pretty commendable.
Yeah.
I certainly know what Kyle has felt and what he has gone through in the second half as he continues to try to work through some of these command issues. This young man knows how to get outs in games. He certainly has the arsenal to do it. It was only, to your point, a couple of months ago that he was the National League Pitcher of the Month.
Right. So this is Jose Lobaton to hit for Kevin Plawecki, who was 0 for 2. And Jose Reyes in the on-deck circle. To O'Brien. Get the out at second. And Lobaton safe at first. A little bobble over there by O'Brien. They get the lead runner for the first out in the 7th.
Just a little bit of a bobble you see with O'Brien as he's getting that throw off to Miguel Rojas at short. Probably cost them the double play. Certainly no Peter hard at first base. Most of the Marlins have not been able to work on the field this week. In fact, this entire road trip, the Marlins have not taken batting practice or fielding practice prior to the game.
Yeah.
It's been show and go since this road trip started.
Jose Reyes takes ball 1. A strike. Well, when we were here a couple of weeks ago, Reyes drove in his 521st run as a Met, tying him for 8th on the club's all-time RBI list. The guy who's first in a lot of Mets categories, David Wright, will play in his final game tomorrow as Reyes flies out.
Now, don't hold me to this, Paul, but I've heard a rumor floating around the ballpark that tomorrow Jose Reyes will be at shortstop and David Wright will be at third base one last time.
That'd be cool.
Just a rumor. Like I said, don't anybody be mad at me if it doesn't happen. It's kind of been presented to me like this has been talked about. It's kind of floating around. You're hearing it in a few different channels, but Mickey Callaway's not like, hey, everybody.
Right.
Jose Reyes is starting at shortstop tomorrow. So tune in. I think this will be kind of cool to see. They played next to each other. I think that's kind of an interesting dynamic. It's clearly part of Mets history.
Diving stop by O'Brien, up and beats Nimmo to the bag. Heck of a play by O'Brien over at first. Get off your feet, big man. Nicely done. 8-1 through 7. It's been an excellent way to open up the final series of the regular season. An 8-1 lead as we go to the top of the 8th inning. Paul Severino, Todd Hollingsworth, Jessica Blaylock here with you. A new battery for the Mets as Jose Lobaton stays in the ball game. He'll take over for Plawecki behind the plate. And Tim Peterson is in out of the Mets bullpen in his 22nd game of the year.
Peterson as well. Trouble with the long ball. 8 home runs in 25 2/3 innings. It's a big number and certainly leads to the over 6 ERA.
Devilish even. He'll face Brian Anderson to lead things off. Anderson takes low. Anderson a double in the 2nd, walks in the 4th and 5th, single and a run scored in the 7th. Three balls and no strikes. So what we and what the Mets fans have seen tonight is something that they had not seen since 2011. Now Reyes came back to the Mets in 2016, but that was after Wright had already played his final game. So tonight was the first time since 2011 that Wright and Reyes both played in the same game. And you have promised us that it will happen tomorrow too.
Brought to my attention that some requests have been made. Like I said,
if it doesn't happen, Holly,
I don't write out the lineup card.
I'm going to be irate with you.
Come at me.
Solely.
I got nothing. So all I can do is make promises that I can maybe keep sometimes. I don't know. Enhance your next game day experience with the MLB Ballpark app Access and manage your tickets, enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today.
Brinson, an RBI double in the 5th, reached on an error in the 7th, and came around to score. In fact, scored on a wild pitch. The cleanest defensive inning for the New York Mets. In fact, Gagnon, who worked an inning and 2/3, gave up 5 hits and 5 runs, but only 1 was earned. Brinson flies one out to right field. Conforto moving toward the line, makes the catch, and there are 2 away. So the Cubs won today 8-4 over the St. Louis Cardinals. Certainly doesn't help the Cardinals case at this point. They were 1 back of the Dodgers for that second wild card spot at the start of play. The Dodgers are going to be underway with the San Francisco Giants in about a half an hour. Hyun-Jin Ryu and Madison Bumgarner. So that's the battle for the second wild card spot. The Milwaukee Brewers currently own the top spot in the wild card. As Dean fouls it off. And Milwaukee is currently leading Detroit 5-3 in the 5th. So that's the wild card. The West, Colorado started the day a game up on the Dodgers. And Colorado is losing 2-1 to the Nationals at home. Dean went around, and that is strike 3. So we go to the last of the 8th. 8-1 Marlins. Game series, Trevor Richards against Steven Matz. We are on the air with the Marlins Live pregame show at 6:30, and the first pitch here at Citi Field a little after 7 o'clock. There have been some ups and downs for Richards this season, but last year's minor league pitcher of the year for the Marlins, the highs have been extremely high, and hopefully he can finish on one tomorrow. It'll be his 25th start. 122 strikeouts for him, and most of those have come on that devastating changeup that has been his bread and butter. And for Steven Matz, it'll be start number 30 tomorrow night. So that's tomorrow. Marlins trying to wrap this one up tonight, leading by 7 as Harlan Garcia is into the ballgame. Also a new left fielder. That's Isaac Galloway. 28th game for Garcia. And McNeil swings at the first pitch, pops it up down the left field line into the game, and making the catch is Galloway. A long run and makes the basket catch.
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Galloway.
Yeah, the ball will find you.
That's right. He avoids the collision as he and Miguel Rojas cross paths. A little bobble there, but goes to the basket catch. Oh, a little snow cone.
A little redirect too.
Sure enough. I had to get out and look at Miguel's chasing him down. Nope, not going to get me. He beat him to the spot.
Nice play for out number 1 on just one pitch. That one outside to Michael Conforto, who's 0 for 3 tonight.
Yeah, we've talked in a lot of ways about some of the Marlins overcoming this season. Harlan Garcia, at least for me, one of them. Certainly know what he could do out of the bullpen last year. Had a strong season, kind of as that lone lefty in 2017 out of the bullpen. Solid job as a rookie. Good numbers across the board. Of course, made the transition into the rotation. That got off to a great start, and then it turned into a downward slide about as fast as anything we've seen. So much so that he ended up going back down to the minor leagues. And since coming back, he has thrown the ball very well out of the bullpen. Last 6 games, crickets. Nothing to see. 167 batting average against. No earned runs.
Fouled away, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
How about these career numbers against the Mets? As I mentioned, Garcia looking to finish strong. 12 career innings against the Mets, 1 hit. Pretty good.
I like that. That sounds good. Low to Conforto, count runs full. Marlins had 3 guys on the right side of the infield. Rojas makes the play. Let's check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Hey, Paul, Harlan Garcia may be pitching in the big leagues now, but that wasn't always the plan. As a kid, he loved soccer and even played in international tournaments for the DR. But family members noticed he had a good arm and encouraged him to take up baseball. He finally did at the age of 15, but even then he was still splitting time between baseball and soccer. It wasn't until he played in a summer league that he realized he could be a big leaguer, and guys, the rest is history.
That's right. Thank you, Jessica. And he'll face Jay Bruce here. Now, I know Harlan, of course, is a pitcher, but I've heard so much about how soccer is important for baseball players to help develop that footwork. And really just all sports kind of help in different ways, right? All the different skill sets and the coordinations can help. And that's why, you know, when you see youngsters playing one sport at such a young age, it can be frustrating.
Well, and I think there's a lot, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can go with this conversation. It's probably not the time with 2 strikes and 2 outs, but listen, soccer's going to help baseball. Baseball's going to help soccer, all the sports. I encourage my sons to play everything.
Anderson on the right side makes the play, and how about that? A 1-2-3 inning for Harlan Garcia in just 10 pitches. 8-1 through 8. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide by Kubota. For information or to find a Kubota dealer near you, go to gokubota.com and buy your South Florida Honda dealers. A cool night here in New York City. 8-1 Marlins in front as we go to the 9th inning. Paul Severino, Todd Hollinsworth, Jessica Blaylock with you. McNeely's Sierra to lead things off. And then Isaac Galloway, who's already made a nice defensive play in this ball game. In the top of the order, Miguel Rojas looking for his 5th hit. A strike from Peterson to Sierra. Had an RBI ground out back in the 4th inning. That got the Marlins on the board. In fact, 8 unanswered runs. A little low. 2-1. That one gets by McNeil and into shallow right field. We'll see how they score it. Mets already have 2 errors in the ball game.
Now that's a pretty good swing by Sierra. He gets a hit. Hit that ball hard. In fact, Neal didn't even get leather on it. Only foot. Deflected into shallow right.
Coming up after this one, the WB Mason Marlins Live postgame show. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson from the studio. We'll hear from Don Mattingly. After a night in which the offense certainly came to play. 8 runs, 13 hits. It's an E4 on McNeil. So that is 3 tonight for the Mets.
Tell you what, that's a tough error in my book. Ball hit hard by Sierra. Good at bat.
Called strike 0-2. Galloway in the air to right. That's Conforto. And that's the first out of the inning. Time for the Coors Light refreshing finish. How about the night for Miguel Rojas in the top spot in the order? Has been setting the tone throughout the game. A leadoff single in the 1st. He had a double in the 5th, a single in the 6th, an RBI single in the 7th.
He has certainly been all over it after hitting a breaking ball to right field. His first at bat, everything else straight the rest of the way, but great swings. Yeah, for the most part, working back through the middle. That's why he got himself a first pitch changeup from Peterson.
4 for 5 tonight. The 3rd 4-hit game for him in his career. Both last year in May and in September. But never a 5-hit game. In fact, he was a homer shy of the cycle against Atlanta on the 30th last year.
Yeah, you get 5 hits in a ball game or 4 hits in a ball game, you almost always are. At least one extra base hit in there usually. Rojas set himself a pretty solid season. I'll tell you what, when it comes to consistent performance, he has provided it for the most part.
This one out to left. hit well, but Smith able to make the play right on the edge of the track.
Yeah, maybe the hardest hit of all his hits tonight.
This game's not fair, dude.
It really isn't. It's not going to go down as a hit. He hit that ball on a line. You see him running off the field. He smoked it.
Now still a solid offensive night for Miguel Rojas. He'll finish 4 for 6 in all likelihood. And that'll bring up Starlin Castro. He's reached 3 times, once on a walk, once on an error, once on a single, and a fly ball out to center field for Nimmo. We move to the bottom of the 9th inning. Marlins in front 8-1. Three-game series, and it's going to be a special and pretty emotional night here at Citi Field. David Wright has announced that tomorrow is going to be the final game of his major league career. Going to get the start. He got a bat in the ball game tonight, and that was his first at bat in 854 days. But he'll be in the starting lineup tomorrow, and we believe, although it has not been confirmed yet, that he will be at third and Jose Reyes will be at short. So bit of a throwback to the Shea Stadium days, if you will, with those two guys. So tune in for that. Marlins live pregame show on the air 6:30. First pitch a little after 7 as Nick Whitgren is into the ball game. The 4th pitcher tonight for the Marlins in his 32nd game this season. Face Rosario, Smith, and Frazier.
Now good numbers for Nick in his career against the New York Mets. Career .277 ERA. He's had a nice season. Giving up a couple of runs his last 2 times out, but prior to that, held the opposition scoreless in 8 of 9 appearances. Actually has pitched much better. He's one of the few who's actually pitched much better on the road this season than at home. 2.04 ERA on the road. ERA just a smidge above 4 at home. Lefties 227, righties 233.
A strike to Rosario, 1-2. Rosario got the scoring started tonight with an RBI single in the 1st inning. Brought home McNeil. And then a strikeout in the 4th. Grounded into a double play in the 6th. Fouled away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Rosario. Down the right field line, but into the seats. Still 2-2. Seventh pitch of the at-bat. Shot foul again. Three and two. So in the American League wild card race, the New York Yankees have a magic number as Rosario strikes out. Tough battle, but Nick Whitman gets the strikeout.
Hey, a little extra on that. 94 miles an hour as he dialed it up. You see Nick hanging around in the 92, 93 range. A little extra mustard on that cheese. That's not right. Hot dog.
Well, yeah, I mean, let you a little extra mustard on it.
Yeah.
And then let people at home figure out what they want to put the mustard on.
Game.
Yeah. Could be a pretzel. You put mustard on a pretzel.
That's right.
On a hot dog. A sandwich. Pastrami or otherwise.
You're clearly very hungry right now.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I do appreciate the pizza you got me. It's nice.
Yeah. What's your favorite spot?
Solid slice. Went to Famous Ray's last night.
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah.
It's getting good?
Yeah. It's famous.
Apparently it's not.
In certain circles, it's very famous.
That's right. That's one of my points, but not all circles.
Not your circle. You're in your own circle. That's your problem.
It's true. It's true.
Well, before another ridiculous tangent we've gone on, what I was going to say was that the Yankees are currently beating the Red Sox right now as that one gets by O'Brien and into right field. And if that score holds, the Yankees will wrap up home field in the wild card against the Oakland A's. That took too long to deliver.
O'Brien down to his knee as the backhand, unable to keep the ball on the infield. How much that really does matter, home field advantage in the wild card game. Think it matters?
Well, when it's the opposite coast, I think it might help. You don't think so?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's a great answer. I'm not sure you're going to give me or could give a much better one. You think of the dynamic of that wild card game. It should be all hands on deck from first pitch on.
You get the last at bat, obviously.
Yeah, but I mean, I get that, but I guess I just more or less getting at the fact that it's a game 7. It's you're going to do whatever you got to do to win a baseball game, whether it's in Oakland or in New York, and you're right. I mean, the home field advantage, I guess it matters in some way. I mean, I know Yankees fans are certainly appreciative of it.
Sure, because
they'd rather have their team at home.
Right. They play in Boston now as Frazier gets hit by the pitch. So the Mets have 2 on here in the 9th inning. So the Yankees play in Boston now, and if they get past the A's, would play in Boston again. Ooh, right off the point of the elbow for Frazier.
Two-seam fastball got away from Whitman. Put runners at first and second here in the 9th. Well, it's a bit of a cushion.
And it's Jose Lobaton. So yeah, so the Yankees are in Boston. If they host the game, they go to New York, and then back up to Boston if they win. The A's are in Anaheim, so they've got to go from Oakland or Anaheim to Yankee Stadium to play the game, and then if they win, they shoot up to Boston. So I think it'd be worse for the Yankees to not have the home field, because then you're logging 6,000 miles in 4 days.
Right.
Time zones, the stress of the one game. Nothing in 2 to Lobaton, who reached on a fielder's choice in the 7th. Jack Reinheimer on deck for the Mets. And the Marlins are an out away from a victory tonight. 2 strikeouts this inning for Whitman. Now the other layer to that whole thing is the Yankees have hit 4 home runs tonight, so they now have 264. Their next home run will be a new single season record for home runs in a year.
I think more importantly than that, did I hear correctly that Didi Gregorius was back?
You heard correctly. He was 1 for 4 with a run scored, or is 1 for 4. They're in the 9th right now.
There were rumors that Didi might be done for the season. I think that things were coming a bit unhinged for the Yankees a little bit. I think that would have been a significant loss. Now they've got Judge back and obviously Didi back.
Cortisone shot seemed to have fixed it a little bit. The Rockies have taken a 5-2 lead. It's going to be a fun last few days. Different things sorting themselves out. Marlins trying to pick up a win tonight and start this 3-game series on the right foot. Richards tomorrow, Sandy Alcantara on Sunday. All games on Sunday start at 3:05 Eastern time. Two and 2. So that's a cool thing that Major League Baseball has done the last 2 or 3 years, with all the games on the final Sunday of the regular season starting at the same time. Two from Whitman. Down the right field line, and foul.
Yeah, the 3:05 start time was implemented, I believe, a few seasons ago to give no clear advantage to the teams playing out west.
Correct.
A lot of times what happened, you'd have a weekend like this where teams were lobbying for home field advantage. And if a team would lose, all of a sudden you'd see, well, we're going to start their #1 guy on that Sunday, could pull him back, start, whoever, if that game became meaningless. You start everybody at the exact same time. You start them, you start them.
Gamesmanship.
There you go.
Fly ball right field line. Sierra will not have a play. Still 2 and 2.
For one day of the year, everybody in Major League Baseball will be on their team bus going to the ballpark roughly at the same time.
That's right.
Doesn't happen ever.
Not
just once a year.
That's right. Crowd getting behind the Mets here, down 8-1, but too little, too late. It's a Marlins win, 8-1 tonight. A big night for Miguel Rojas. He gets the assist on the game's final play. A win for Jose Aranea after another solid outing, 6 innings and 1 run. So the Marlins pick up the 8-1 victory and start the final series of the regular season with a W. Step aside, the Marlins Live postgame show coming up after the break.